What's up, Packers fans, and welcome back to another episode of the Daily Draft brought to you by Badger State Brewing in Green Bay, Wisconsin. I'm your host, Ross Uglem, the publisher of Pack Report, and today we are going shopping for a running back. Specifically, we're going to check out Clemson's Will Shipley. Shipley's been a very, very fun player to watch for a number of years at Clemson. It's a high quality college football program, obviously, and um, he's just the type of player, and I'll get right to it in the pro series. Just the type of player where it's an easy scout for me. I feel like I know exactly what he's going to be in the NFL. I know exactly what round I would take him in, and you know that floor is high, and that's not always a bad thing. I know people probably equate that to a lack of upside or a lack of star potential, whatever. I just know what Will Shipley is, and that is very, very exciting to me, and potentially a really, really good fit for the Green Bay Packers. All right, getting right into the pros. What can Will Shipley do at the NFL level? As I mentioned, I think I know what he's going to be, and if those expectations are managed, I think he can be a productive NFL player. He catches the heck out of the ball, man. He is a natural receiving the ball. I've done some Will Shipley cut ups on Twitter, or X as it's known now. You can kind of go through my feed and see some of that. Swing screens, seam routes, go balls. I think you could certainly line them up out wide like the Packers do and throw them slants against linebackers like they do with Aaron Jones. I don't think that would be any problem. But when I watch a running back, obviously when I watch a wide receiver too, but the running backs that can track the ball and the running backs that can catch the ball away from their frame like a receiver does, they're special. Okay. Um, and yeah, a running back that can body catch it at a high percentage and be effective in the passing game, that's cool too. But when you have a running back that's truly gifted in the receiving game or truly natural in the receiving game, and Shipley doesn't have these crazy super special numbers catching the ball, but I think he projects as the type of guy that can be an ideal third down back in the NFL, help you a little bit on first and second down if necessary. And depending on how he tests, go run down there and hit people on special teams. I think he could be really, really good as a number two or a third down specialist, but like he has a spot. And that's like when I'm scouting and I'm talking about these mid-round guys, do you have a spot on an NFL roster? And I think Will Shipley does. He's decisive as a runner, which Packers fans will love. It's also important when you run as much wide zone and as much split zone as the Packers run that you make a decision. Okay. Patience is great. When that cutback lane closes in a wide zone scheme, it's gone. And so, one cut decisive runner, which is exactly what Will Shipley is important. Okay. It's a good fit for what Green Bay does. And in general, it's just important. The guys that dance and succeed, they're like the top 5%. They're the unicorns. They're super athletes, or they're super football players. They just have that that makes them a top 4 or 5% guy in all the world. And it's silly to expect every back to be that. So the dancers better be something truly, truly special. And if not, don't dance. And Will Shipley does not dance. 8 total fumbles on 5, not fumbles lost, 8 total fumbles on 526 carries over the course of 3 seasons. And there's additional receiving touches there too. I mean, he is fumbling the ball at a very, very low rate. Eight sounds like a lot. It's 3 per season, and it's Clemson, so they're 14 game seasons. He takes care of the ball well, is I guess what I'm trying to say. One thing, and Harold Landry was the big guy for me on this, and he's had a good career. Watch if you're trying to get into this, the scouting stuff, and I'm not paid by the NFL team. If anybody wants to hire me, specifically the Packers, you know where to find me. But if you're trying to get into watching stuff, try watch at least the last 2 seasons. Dontavion Wicks is that's a better example than Harold Landry. The Packers. Dontavion Wicks looked like a top 50 pick his junior year, or I shouldn't say his junior year because I can't remember his classification. Nobody knows anybody's classification because of the COVID rule. But Dontavion Wicks in what would have been then 2021, because his last season would have been 2022 and then drafted in 2023, if that makes sense. In 2021, he should have been a top 50 pick. Then I think there's a quarterback change in Virginia. He's not as productive, this, that, and the third. And he lasts till round 5. And he's one of them. I mean, I just tweeted out a receiving DVOA statistic. You can go check my Twitter account. It'll be a couple days now because we're pre-recording some of these. Like, he's a special player, guys. Dontavion Wicks isn't good. He's special. And I need people, like somebody asked me, who do you think the Packers receiving leader is going to be? You're talking to a guy with a Christian Watson bobblehead that sits beside him during every episode of the Daily Draft. And I said, it's going to be Dontavion Wicks. That's how special I think that kid is. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is watch at least 2 years. So go back to not just the 2023 tape, but the 2022 tape. If you go back and watch the 2022 tape of Will Shipley, he's a very, very good football player. 2023 was fine, but when I'm trying to see, like, how can you beat NFL athletes, 2022 is where I see a special football player, at least a special enough player to be valued where I value him in Will Shipley. He's got prototypical size. Listed at 5'11", 205. It's nothing huge. It's nothing small. He's just your average running back, prototypical running back size. Not too big for anything, not too small for anything. And I think that kind of, shows on film. He's not a battering ram, but he can do it in short yardage. And his lack of size, if you will, or whatever, like his versatility makes him an effective receiver. And that's sort of where, as I've mentioned, I see his role at the next level. I'm very interested to see his testing. Be interested to see his long speed. How much breakaway ability does he have? It's something we're going to get into in the cons. But really, with a player like him and kind of an Aaron Jones kind of way, and by the way, I do see some Aaron Jones when I watch Will Shipley play, is show me that 3-cone. Show me that short shuttle. Show me that vertical jump. How explosive is he? How short area quick is he? Maybe he'll get hawked down from behind. And, of course, Packers fans have very awful memories of Aaron Jones getting caught from behind in some big moments. But you'd still take Aaron Jones 100 times out of 100, even in like round 2, and they took him in round 5. Will Shipley, I'm not saying he can beat Aaron Jones, but that's some of the vibes that I get. He handles congestion very well. So does Aaron Jones. He is a flexible athlete on film. So is Aaron Jones. I'm talking about hip flex. I'm talking about ankle flex. I'm talking about Aaron Jones sort of like can bend around while not really cutting. It's almost like he's running, but he's running at a 45-degree angle and he's weaving. There are jump cut guys. Le'Veon Bell was a jump cut guy. Aaron Jones just sort of skitters around, and you see some of that weaving and that ankle flexibility and that hip flexibility, that ability to run while your body's at sort of a 45-degree angle because you're turning. Will Shipley has that, and it's impressive. He's got good, but not great contact balance. He just doesn't go down on first contact, but he's not, like Javonte Williams. He's not Javonte Williams at UNC. He's not just constantly rolling off of guys, and he doesn't run anybody over, but we'll get to the cons in a little bit. The other thing, and Blake Corum has this, and Aaron Jones has this, he scores the hell out of it, man. 31 rushing touchdowns in 3 seasons. He is very, very good at getting in the end zone, and that is a skill, and it is important. And again, 5'11", 205, he's not huge. He's not Derrick Henry. He's not A.J. Dillon. So for him to be consistently scoring against the Floridas of the world and the North Carolinas and the NC States, guys like Peyton Wilson, guys like Cedric Gray, the Williams kid that plays at Miami, the interior defensive lineman, like they're playing pros. Jared Verse, they're playing pros on the in the front 7 constantly, like top 100 pros. The ACC is a good league, and going against pros every darn day in the front 7 in practice at Clemson. He's a back that can score. Excuse me. All right, cons. He's got to get better in pass pro. That's the one thing. And I know you just said, Ross, you just said he's a third down back. Well, he's a third down back if he can avoid getting his quarterback killed. And that's something that the Packers are going to have to work on, because I did not like his work in pass pro at Clemson. You can't go out on a route every time. There's design stuff. That's great. But there's going to be times, too, when the other team shows pressure and the play gets changed, and that arrow route that you were going to run, or that choice route that you were going to run, is gone. And you got to stand up against a 240-pound blitzing linebacker, or you got to chip an edge, or you got to do something that he's just not very good at right now. He's not a pile pusher. He's not strong in the lower body. I don't think. I mean, we'll see if he does a good vert. That would be something to pay attention to. But I don't see that explosiveness. I don't see that short yardage. I don't see him running over guys. And not every running back has to. Okay, but if we weren't going to go through the cons, he wouldn't have the grade that I have on him. He'd be a perfect prospect, and none of these guys are. Certainly not Will Shipley. His vision is fine. It's not great, and that's another somewhat concern because Green Bay is going to play, run split zone. Green Bay is going to run wide zone. The cutback lanes that Aaron Jones sees that AJ Dillon sometimes doesn't, those are points of frustration. Okay, those are things that Packers fans don't love when they see it done at such a high level with Aaron Jones, and he'll hit them occasionally. He just doesn't have that elite vision where you're watching a guy and you're like, man, how did he see that? I didn't see a ton of, man, how did he see that when I watched Will Shipley run the ball. And as I mentioned, right, I'm talking constantly about Will Shipley as a receiver. I'm posting video of him as a receiver. I'm projecting him as this third down back, this usable weapon. My guy carried the ball 526 times. Okay, he is still a running back, and so there's plenty of running back tape to watch. As I mentioned, the breakaway speed is not on film. Okay, so I'm very interested in the 40-yard dash time because I don't see him running away from guys. I do see him getting caught from behind. The burst is there enough. The straight line acceleration, some of the short area stuff, like he's able to get 10-yard gains. I don't know if he's able to get 40, 50, 60-yard gains, go to the crib. Just because I don't know that sprinter speed is there, that track speed is there. But I think that's overrated in the running back room. That is not a chiefly important thing to me as a scout. Breakaway speed is cool if you're a back. It's just not going to be at the top of my list. Aaron Jones doesn't have breakaway speed, and in my opinion, he's been one of the best 5 or 6 backs in the league since he's basically been in the league. Certainly since year 2. Needs to stay healthy. Snap counts are low in each season. He gets nicked up. Now, they ran it with him a ton, but he needs to stay healthy. And the guys don't get smaller and don't hit softer when you get to the league. So that's something where, again, I'm talking about a third down role. I'm talking about a limited role at the next level. Maybe that can stem some of that, but Will Shipley needs to stay healthy. Okay, we're talking Packers fits. We're talking what do we want to see from Will Shipley so that he meets the Packers threshold? Not a ton. Not a ton. The Packers would like his relative athletic score in general to be above 7.25. Now they don't use RAS, but I know they have an athletic composite score that they do use. And historically, Green Bay has preferred their running backs to be above 7.25. And I probably see that for Will Shipley. I don't know that that's necessarily going to be a problem. What are the minimums? They want to see a 10-foot plus broad jump. So pay attention to that broad jump. They want him to weigh in at 205 or more. That's interesting, right? Because he's listed at 205. So a lot of times when guys are listed at 205, that can be less than true. that can be maybe not absolutely the case. So if he comes in at 197 instead of 205, understand that that's one less Packers box that he checks. So again, NFL Combine, you like Will Shipley, you watch Will Shipley's highlight tape, you watch some film on Will Shipley, you want him to be a Green Bay Packer, hope that his composite relative athletic score is above 725, hope that he weighs in at 205 or more, and most of all, if we're talking about an actual test, the Packers love explosive backs. Okay, vertical jump and broad jump specifically 10 feet or more. That shows to be an explosive back in the short area, which is the thing that Green Bay values the most. Packers fit. Love it. I think he would be the best receiving back on Green Bay's roster the second that he walks through the door. His current consensus big board value aligns well with where they have picks and with where they've taken running backs in the past. You go back and look at the last time they really loaded up on running backs. Took Jamal Williams in round 4, took Aaron Jones in round 5, took Devontae Mays in round 7. I know that they, used a high pick on Eddie Lacy. I know that they used a high pick on AJ Dillon. I wonder if they're maybe not a little bit of gun shy. Eddie Lacy was a productive player for a short period of time. AJ Dillon has been good in spurts. Has either player really returned second round value? That's a different conversation or a different argument that you could have. Could Green Bay be kind of turned off the top backs in this class? The Blake Corums, the Jonathan Brooks, the Trey Bensons. Like if those guys are going to go in the top 70, was Green Bay maybe looking more down the line towards Braylon Allen, towards Ray Davis, towards a guy like Will Shipley? Are they looking Dylan Laub? Are they looking later, right, at these mid-round guys, just like they did with Jamal Williams, just like they did with Aaron Jones? I think it's something to at least pay attention to, the way that his kind of ranking right now, where you see him, and then the league may view him completely differently, right? But where you kind of see him right now is right where the Packers have picks and right where the Packers have used picks to select running backs before. Potentially, I think he's a long-term replacement for Jones. I don't think he'll be as good as Jones, but I think for some of the things that Aaron Jones does, he could be a very good back in a shared backfield. You take Will Shipley to do this, maybe you take Braylon Allen to do that, or you take Will Shipley to do this, maybe you take Ray Davis to do that, or Will Shipley to do this, maybe you get crazy and take Jonathan Brooks to do that. That's what I'm wondering if they don't kind of view him as. But I think if they only took him in this draft and then focused on a rookie back in next year's class, go with Aaron Jones, re-sign A.J. Dillon, and bring in Will Shipley to replace Patrick Taylor, I'd be very cool with that. But he can help the team right now. He doesn't just need to be a redshirt replacement for Aaron Jones. I think he can help the team right now. He's a good red zone back who isn't enormous, just like their current guy. Aaron Jones, by the way, guys, not always available. Okay, it's a criticism, but it's a valid criticism. I would have much rather this season had AJ Dillon with Will Shipley available to do some of the Aaron Jones things, as opposed to having Emmanuel Wilson available to do the Aaron Jones things, or having Patrick Taylor available to do the Aaron Jones things. Having a guy like Will Shipley would be valuable, not only as a potential replacement for Aaron Jones in the future, but as someone to pair with whoever that other back is, if Aaron Jones can only play 12 of Green Bay's 17 games next year, 9 of Green Bay's 17 games next year. Will Shipley's a guy that I would like to have. Okay. Final grade for Will Shipley. I think he'll be a good NFL player, which has value. I have a hard time seeing how he could be great. I have a hard time seeing him, achieving like Aaron Jones status as one of the Pro Bowl level backs in this league. Certainly have a hard time seeing him becoming an all pro. But when you're scouting a guy like Will Shipley and like some of these other guys that I've mentioned by name in the mid rounds, you're just looking for good NFL players. And if they happen to hit that 90th percentile outcome and they become stars, awesome. That's gravy. The Green Bay Packers, if they knew Aaron Jones was going to be Aaron Jones, they would have taken him in round 2. Okay, they didn't. They passed on him a whole bunch of times and then got him in round 5. And I see Will Shipley as a very good NFL player, maybe a starter, but if not, a very good number 2 back in time. For me, that's a solid round 4 grade. And for me, he's currently ranked 106th overall. Folks, thank you so much for watching. How can you kind of help out? First of all, you can check us out over at Packer Report. We got awesome writers doing awesome stuff, awesome content creators doing awesome stuff. And it's a home for the Pack a Day podcast videos. You can always find these videos, of course, right here on YouTube, but as well, you can click through the link right at Packer Report. Guys, buy the pre-order of the Green Bay Draft Guide powered by Packer Report. We're even going to kick in a promo code for 10% off. That's daily, DAILY, just like the daily draft here. You can follow me. I'm at Ross Uglem, real easy, over on Twitter, which is now known as X. And subscribe, do all those wonderful things for the Pack a Day podcast. Have such a great day, guys, and go Pack Go.